Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I, for one thing, we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, what up? Talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.
Every week we talk about leadership, service, and the community. But today we get to live it. This given season, Corey's Corner is launching Corey's Corner Cares. From the corner to the community, in conjunction with Corrupt Mob MC. Our goal is to feed at least 25 families who need help for getting some food on their table for the Christmas season. You know, we're just coming out of a shutdown, and families are struggling to put food on their tables. They cancel SNAP, and we just want to give back a little. So, Corey's Corner and Corrupt Mob MC will ask you to donate and give. It doesn't matter how much you give, as long as you can give something to help. I'll be the first one to give. So, $100 is in the pot so far. So I challenge you to match that. When you get about 25 people to match, then we can help some families out. You could donate using the link in the episode description or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. Corrupt Mob MC and Corey's Corner, thank you for your support. Today on Corey's Corner, we sit down with a man who spent more than 2 decades serving and protecting the people of New York City. Deputy Chief Winston M. Faison. A 25-year veteran of the NYPD, Deputy Chief Faison began his journey in 2000 with PSA 3. Police Service Area 3 in Brooklyn, earning a medal for exemplary duty. His leadership path took him through commands across the city, from the South Bronx to Bed-Stuy, where under his directions, shootings dropped nearly 50%. Big number, huge number. Rising through the ranks from sergeant to deputy chief, he's led the 61st Precinct Youth Strategies Division, and most notably, became the first African-American commanding officer of the NYPD Aviation Unit. Big accomplishment. Beyond the badge, he's a licensed commercial pilot, flight instructor, and founder of Aviate for You, Inc., a nonprofit introducing over 300 young people from undeserved communities to the world of aviation. From East New York to the skies above New York City, Deputy Chief Faison's story is one of service, leadership, and breaking barriers. Welcome to Corey's Corner, brother. Been waiting to get you on here, man.
Couldn't wait to get on.
It's time. Let's do it. Before we jump into the next segment, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of Corey's Corner is brought to you by Captain Derby's Books. Learn more at CaptainDerby'sBook.com and follow Captain Derby's Book on Instagram and all social media platforms. Let's go, the man behind the badge, Deputy Chief Faison. Welcome to Corey's Corner. Before we get into it, everything's been written and said. I want to start with your story. Tell us who Winston Faison is.
Before we get into the interview, I just want to say I'm here on my own free will. I'm not representing the NYPD. I'm speaking from my experience and my life story. A young kid that grew up in East New York, single mother, 7 kids in the household, and, was lucky enough. Growing up in East New York in the 90s, it's like a total different game. So anybody who made it through those years without getting arrested, shot, killed, or whatever, blessed. So I slid through that, went to Thomas Jefferson High School, graduated from there, did a couple of years at Hofstra University. After that, I worked in the Board of Ed for about 5 years, then came to NYPD, and I was focused on, when I got on at NYPD, I said, I want to be a boss. A first-generation cop, but I learned really quickly in the academy what the sergeant was compared to cops. And I studied from then. I never stopped studying. When I was a sergeant, I was studying for the captain's test because I was on the lieutenant's list. So became captain, of course, went through a couple of commands. Always wanted to learn how to fly. That was always a passion when I was younger, but it was just unreachable because nobody I knew was a pilot or anything like that. When I got a little older, when you're really searching for things start to gravitate towards you. So I started meeting a couple of people and go, listen, I fly, I can take you up. I was a little nervous. So I was a little nervous going on a single engine airplane, but I found this one instructor. He took me up the first time. I fell in love with it. I started doing it so I can get my license so I can fly in different places. But when you love something, you want to teach people. So I became a flight instructor. I got my commercial, my instrument rating, and then I became a flight instructor. And then I decided to buy my own plane, and I opened up Aviate for You so I can teach little kids the same thing I learned.
That's dope. So growing up, who or what inspired you to choose a career in law enforcement?
Nobody inspired me. I was in the DOE. I wanted to be a teacher. Top pay for teachers, 60 credits above your master's. And they said, you know what, Captain, all you need is a bachelor's, and you can go as high as you want. And I knew I could take exams, so I got a job, got my bachelor's, and I took it to deputy chief.
You know, I read somewhere at the age of 5, you knew you wanted to be a pilot. Can you tell me about that? You know, I was 5 years old. I was playing with pistols and freaking G.I. Joes, Joes and race cars. You think about flying planes. Wow.
Yeah, listen, I didn't get on an airplane until I was over 21.
Like
as
most
a passenger.
people. Like most people
Yeah,
in the
like
hood.
24 is the first time I was on a plane.
Right.
But, always, come on, think about it. You're seeing something where you're a few tons flying across, the country, carrying people. It always, intrigued me. So that was something I always enjoyed, look forward to do.
You excel to deputy chief, which is, understand, a high-ranking position in the New York City Police Department. Probably commanded more people under that rank. He probably had over 20-something thousand people that he was more higher ranking than. Big accomplishment. You attained a lot with the rank. Can you walk us through that journey from patrol officer to commanding officer? So before you answer, like for me, and I know it's the same for you. When I took the sergeant's test, I got promoted with lieutenants. I was like, damn, I could do it. When I got lieutenant, I was captain. I got promoted to captain as deputy chiefs and inspectors. And so it was like, I was just motivated. You had that same hunger. I already know it.
Absolutely. Listen, the exams, it's not a cake in the park. Some people go a lucky Saturday. That's bullshit.
No, I don't believe that.
Thing.
Yeah.
If you don't go in and you don't study, you might get a 60. You know what I'm saying? You got to really put some work in. I put some work in. I lost summers just studying.
Me too.
You know what I mean? So I knew what I wanted. I knew when I was in the academy, I told my classmates, I'm going to be at least a captain. They can't stop that. And people tell me, you said it in the academy.
Yeah.
So, I was focused on that. And listen, and I got lucky. Not lucky. The exams, I wasn't lucky. But when it comes to discretionary promotion, you got to put some work in. Being a CO, you don't sleep. My son used to hide my phone because it always used to ring. Yeah. So, you put a lot of work in to get those promotions. And you got to do a lot, to be recognized.
New York rag of a newspaper post had you all over the front cover, all these stories about you. They're saying a lot of things. Let's start with the charges. They list over a dozen charges, from falsifying records to misuse of departmental resources. This is as the commanding officer aviation. All of these allegations are when you was the commanding officer aviation. Ironically, you're the first black commander in history of the aviation. Just like I was the first black commander in history of 6-7, I ended up on the front page of the New York Post too. All right, so we know how they do black commanders in the NYPD when you're not in the clique. So
News 12's Caitlin Ulrich takes us inside the aviation unit to meet the first black man to lead the unit and the pilots he leads.
There is a lot of pressure when flying. Maybe not for veteran pilot NYPD Aviation Commanding Officer Winston Faison, who has dreamed of flying since he was 5 years old, living in his East New York home. But he feels the pressure in other ways.
When you're the first of something, you have to make sure you do it right so it doesn't mess up people coming behind you.
Chief Faison is the first black man to command NYPD Aviation.
The monumental position I'm in, is going to open doors to other kids that's 5 years old in East New York, walking around looking at the helicopters.
And his right-hand man is the first black man to be the executive officer of aviation.
We didn't think about it, but we actually made history with that.
The history they've made inspires the young pilots.
It definitely passes on motivation to others like myself, and, hopes of also being able to reach that potential as well.
Who also dreamed of the sky in their Brooklyn childhood homes.
Born and raised Brooklyn kid down in Flatbush. Never thought I'd be flying a multi-million-dollar aircraft, a ton of them. So it's good to be able to see that.
Representation is important to the commander.
Seeds grow multiples. So there's a lot of kids out there who just don't have an idea or can't even fathom flying. So looking at Hilaire, looking at myself, they see it. If you see it, you can believe it.
Because as these pilots break barriers, natural and man-made, it reminds you, the sky's the limit.
For those who haven't read the charges, can you walk us through what exactly you was accused of, and what was your initial reaction when you received the notice?
So I got to go to a story for this. It might take a little bit, but it's
all right.
going to get there. So I got into, I'm going to start in 2019.
Okay.
In 2019, I was deputy inspector in charge of the 8-1 precinct. I had like 2.5 years there. I was about to leave. The president, commanding officer of the aviation unit at the time was Cohen. He was retiring, and I interviewed for that position in 2019. All right, and people should know when I interviewed in that position, 19 years, in charge of 2 commands, have my pilot license. And they gave it to a captain who never had a precinct and don't know anything about aviation. So, and I'm saying this because if it was flipped around,
right,
people would go crazy.
Yeah,
right.
You wouldn't even have had an interview.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? They would have been like, "How did this guy get it without this guy?"
Exactly.
So that's important. So I didn't make a big fuss out of it. In 2022, I get a call from, and I ain't gonna say his name, but a high person in government position, very high.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me one day and said, "Winston, let me ask you a question." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Is it true that they offered you the aviation position, you turned it down?" So that tells me when he got into position, he asked, "What happened to Faison?" He said, "Oh, he didn't get it because he didn't want it."
Right.
So you can see what's going on with that.
Uh-huh.
So in May of 2023, I get assigned to be the CO of the aviation unit. I get in the unit. Listen, you're a black man. First time you got it, all eyes are going to be on you. Everybody's going to say, "What's your qualifications? Are you qualified to be in that position?" Was a big thing. When I got into the aviation unit, before I got there, I had my commercial, instrument rated, CFI, meaning I was a certified flight instructor for airplanes. I owned my own airplane, and I was teaching, I had the aviation flight school.
Right.
So qualifications, nobody in the department at that rank can touch my qualifications.
Or above your rank.
Or above my rank.
Right.
Yeah, below or above.
Exactly.
Facts, right? I get in there, of course, it's a small unit of 60, and of course, allegations going to come. First allegation is, anytime you get in another position, people are going to look at everything you've done in the past, and they're just going to query everything. So they start looking at my social media page. They saw my nonprofit Aviation for Us program. They saw that 2 cops that work in the aviation unit at the time was volunteering their service to do the program. Now, this program was in the NYPD Community Center, right? This program was free for kids to introduce them to aviation.
That's right.
When I was in the 8-1, when I was doing it, I used to clock out the 8-1 and do it on my own time. And there was other programs in that building. When I got assigned to community affairs, I did the same thing.
And hold on, so the building is a NYPD building?
Yeah, so it's NYPD Community Center.
Right.
And it was a community center based on community-based organizations doing programs in that building along with cops, and it was a way to bridge the gap between community and policing. Yeah. So it was a good program. I mean, it was a good building. It was doing positive things. I was the CEO of the Youth Strategies at that time, and I had like a great program in that building. And it did more than just aviation. I mean, teaching aviation. It's like teaching young men and women to be, productive young men and women.
Right.
So we was doing that. We did that for like 3 years. Over 300 kids went through that program. They all got a chance to fly airplanes. Right? So now somebody's looking at my Instagram page, they seeing that, and they seeing 2 cops volunteering their time. But of course, in their head, black people was getting paid. This got to be a business. You know what I'm saying? So somebody called the Conflict of Interest Board on me. And the Conflict of Interest Board is like CCRB for outside. They monitor if you're doing something that's conflict with the city.
Right.
So the Conflict of Interest Board, they looked at it. They was like, yeah, he's in uniform on social media. So they had a picture of me sitting on my desk in uniform, and it was on my, my social media account. Yeah. So that's a problem. Everybody does it, but it's a problem.
Well, yeah. So I remember they came out with that rule: people in uniform. I get it. Every day we see the chief of department in uniform.
Yeah.
We see commanders in uniform all the time.
It was like riding a bike on the sidewalk, right? So depending who's riding that bike,
right,
and depending what you want to hit, that's what you hit.
Right.
So the conflict of interest board, they looked at it, they say, yo, listen, this guy violated, social media posts. He violated, I did an interview. In the interview, I talked about my life story, which included my PD career, and I also spoke about my business. So just say, you know what, you utilize your position to promote your business, which I think is bullshit. So they had all of that, and the conflict of interest board had a case out on me. No biggie. I found out about it. I got the CEA. They had an attorney for me. They was going back and forth with them. Listen, this is bullshit. And basically, the conflict of interest board says, listen, we found you guilty of this. You can settle for $4,500, or you take it to oath hearing. And I say, let's take it to a hearing so a judge can talk about it. But they say, you know what, since you're a part of collective bargaining because you work for the New York City Police Department, we send it to the New York City Police Department for it.
Right.
Right? So now IEB got this case of the conflict of interest board with social media bullshit case, right? On top of that, those same guys, they called IEB, they made allegations that, and these are some crazy allegations that we need to discuss. July 4th, they said I crashed a helicopter.
Yes.
All right. If you crash a helicopter, it's going to be investigated. The NTSB is going to come and talk to me first. It's going to be public knowledge. Never happened. They said the FAA came to the base and I locked them out and I took all the records and put it in my office and I locked it.
Right.
I wasn't even working that day.
Right.
I was off. And thank God I was off. And I was going to come in. But thank God I was off. So, IEB didn't, that was the charges, but they didn't charge me with that. They said, of course, I almost crashed a helicopter, hard landed, all types of bull crap. They even said, and what's happening is cops in the unit that's feeding IEB things about aviation that IEB has no idea about it. Right. But they feed them wrong information and a little bit of information, not the whole book. Right. So I'm sitting at my GO and IEB pulls out this document from the FAA saying if you have damage to your tail rotor, even on the ground, you're supposed to notify NTSB. Right. Now, I'm looking at the document, and I kind of knew they was going to go there before I got there. Right. So they said, why didn't you notify NTSB? I said, I didn't have to. And they go, why? I said, because if I have an accident or an incident. They said, well, it was an incident. I said, no, it wasn't. Anything is an incident. No. According to the FAA, what's the definition of incident? Right. Right? So I said, listen, you're looking at one chapter. Go back to the beginning of that chapter. Look at the definition of accidents and incidents. Mm-hmm. So, the lawyer at the time, he pulled it up on his phone. He go, oh, I've got it right here. He reads it into the record. And I go, that's why I didn't notify them, because it wasn't an incident. An incident is happening while you're operating the aircraft. Right. And I wasn't operating the aircraft when it happened. Right. So technically, I'm supposed to notify. I'm not required to. Right. But it's not like I'm hiding, because shit happens. I don't care about that. If shit happened, I'll just go. But, they couldn't charge me with that. So that was dead. So if there was damage to the helicopter, and let me tell you, I fly the helicopter. I land the helicopter at one spot. The helicopter stays out there on the field for about 9 hours. Somebody moves the helicopter someplace else, and then 9 o'clock at night, they find the damage, and they go, you see this damage? I said, yeah, go get a new, just order one. It was like $40,000 for a tail rotor. $40,000 in aviation is like a $10 sweater. Right. I spent like $80,000 to get guys' uniforms, flight uniforms the other day. Mm-hmm. So we ordered tail rotor, no problem. And then they said I should have notified NTSB. It's bullshit. I didn't. That was gone, right? What other allegations they had? That was the first post, right? And that was just on a post. That's the post article. So I'm going to give you a timeline. Hold on. So listen. No, it's a lot of shit. I can't get this out.
Let's go. We're going to get it all out. I wasn't surprised that the New York Post called you an incompetent boob who mishandled safety operations inside of the aviation unit.
And that's what they were talking about. And let me give you my qualifications. And it's crazy because there's not one person in that unit, maybe one or two cops that has the same qualifications as I do. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to ratings that they get there, I got them all. You know what I'm saying? Right. So they can't say, I don't know. When I got to the aviation unit, aviation is a small unit. Aviation is a different world. Just like PD is a different world. Mm-hmm. It's a different language. If you don't understand it, they will run over you.
Right.
The guy before me, he wasn't an aviation guy.
So they
The
ran
cops
over
and the
him.
detective ran the unit. Because if they tell you something, you have to trust their word.
Exactly.
And I don't care who they are. Human beings will take advantage as much as they can, especially in the NYPD.
Right.
So when I got there, I said, I want to make sure I do and I learn everything they know.
Right.
And I knew most of the aviation rules through the airplane because there's small differences. But learning how to fly the helicopter, becoming an instructor in the helicopter, I did all of those ratings too. That way, when they come with me with something, I go, no, you're wrong. You do it this way.
Mm.
So the aviation unit was upside down. You had cops and detectives who were certified flight instructors. They was instructing sergeants and lieutenants. And when it comes to aviation, if you want to get your pilot license and I'm your instructor, in order for you to take the test, I have to sign you off to say I think you ready to take the test.
Right.
So now you got a lieutenant and a cop or a detective, and now that detective has your career in his hand.
Right.
So how can you supervise them knowing they can destroy your career?
Right.
It makes no sense. So I said, you know what? I'm going to become a certified flight instructor. So if one of the bosses need to be trained or they refuse to sign them off, go up with me and I will sign you off.
Right.
So it kind of flipped the whole game. So allegations start going out. Now, July 15th, I hear about I'm getting GO on July 29th in regards.
GO 15th is an interrogation.
Yeah. So they say, listen, I found out through the union, that, listen, they want to interrogate you on July 29th, I believe, a Tuesday. And this was July 15th. And I heard about the allegations. But it was baseless. I was like, this is crap. So I'm not worried about it. The following week, that Thursday, the Thursday before that Tuesday, I get a call from Chief Obey. She's the Chief of Transportation Bureau. And she go, hey, I don't know if you know Winston, but you're being transferred to the Transportation Bureau. So I'm like, wow, these motherfuckers ain't even talked to me yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they didn't do the investigation. So they transferred me out. I said, I am not working for the Transportation Bureau. It's not happening. I got 25 years on.
Right.
That Friday, I went down, put my papers in.
Put his papers in to retire.
Yep. I had some time on the books. I'll just burn my time. That Saturday, the first Post article come out.
Right.
The one we discussing. So this is 2 weeks now. And I still haven't spoken to anybody.
Right.
So now I go to the interrogation or the GO 15. We sit down. They have 17 allegations. Most of it, all of it is bullshit except for the conflict of interest stuff. I took pictures in uniform on my social media and things of that nature.
Right.
When it comes to, they had allegations, and I just want to clear it up.
Right.
Because when you read these allegations, you will say, yo, this guy had to been doing something, right?
Yeah, I looked at
so
it today.
ridiculous.
I looked at it. It was a whole litany of allegations.
It's a ridiculous. So I can go through each one and explain. I don't know how much time you got, but I want to clear the air.
Clear the air. That's what
let's
you're
go
on
for it.
Corey's Corner. We clear the air on Corey's Corner.
All right, so listen. This is how it works in the NYPD. It's really hard to explain. So you go down to your GO 15, and what they do is they'll give you this for the first time. And they go, these are your allegations, and we're about to talk about this. Now, they don't go in order and say, falsified business records, this is what we said. They just start asking questions about anything. You have to answer the questions because if you don't, you get suspended, basically.
Right.
So, I have a delegate and I have an attorney there. If you get GO'd or you be interrogated, get your own personal lawyer also. Do not only use your CEA attorney. That's almost like getting a public defender when you go in there. Because they don't want to go to court. They don't want to go to trial. They want to try to handle it as best as possible and take a deal.
Right. And
So-
remember, they're getting paid by the union.
Exactly. So let me go through this. The first one they gave me is falsifying business records, pension fund submission. And let me tell you what's that about. When I was in community affairs, doing my program, and this is how they got most of this information. They went on my hard drive, my department computer, and they put out a lot of documents that was in my department computer. And they start seeing things. They're like, what is this? He filled out for a pen. So the pension was giving away $20,000 to different programs. They had like a 2020 fund where they gave 20 different programs $20,000. And then they expanded. They gave like 76 people $20,000 throughout the city who was doing any type of programs.
Right.
Right? I filled out for the 2020. I never got money. Just keep that straight. I never got money, but they saw the application.
Right.
So the application said Aviation for Us program. The program was doing free for the kids. And I don't like that they took a program that was great for the community and now they're trying to make it look a certain way.
Right.
So they said, listen, you filled out for this submission and you put Aviation for Us. I said, yeah, that was the name of the program. Well, that's the name of your business. Were you doing it for your business? Fuck out of here.
It's doing it for free.
I was doing it for my program so the kids can fly. Okay, so they said, okay, they stopped talking about it. They ain't charged me with that. But that was the allegation. That's where they get it from.
Right.
So you know where it came from. The second one they put is falsifying business record flight log. And let me tell you what that is. A flight log is when we come back from flying, there's a log not behind it. It's not like a command log. It's just a.
You got a detail every time you take the.
We make it up and we go. Listen, when we took off, this was the hours on the plane. When we landed, this was the hours on the plane, and this is how many times we landed and we took off.
Right.
Now I flew the helicopter and I took it to Farmingdale. Then I went to Islip. Then I came back, and I'm the CEO and I'm the chief. I don't fill out that log. The desk officer or something will fill out the log. The desk officer put 2 landings, was really 3 landings. It's not a big deal. People always fuck up that log. And so they said, did you fill out this log? No, I didn't. You sure? You sure this is not your handwriting? No, it's not my handwriting. They asked my assistant, you sure this is not his handwriting? No, I didn't fill out the log.
Right.
So, goodbye. Right? So it wasn't falsifying business record. But if you see it, you go, what the fuck is this?
And
right?
all of these, so let's be clear, the New York Post put all these allegations in the newspaper also.
Not all of these.
They put a lot of them.
They put a lot. But
They put a lot.
Yeah. But these are a combination of all of them.
Right.
Right? And the third one is, and we had 17 different charges on here.
Right.
All right? So the third one, they said pension fund submission. We spoke about that. Reckless endangerment. That's when they said, I almost crashed a plane.
Right.
Bullshit. Like, I can't give you all the details, but it's bullshit. We spoke about it. I didn't almost crash a plane, or I didn't crash a plane. I didn't do damage to a plane.
Well, for me, so that allegation, when I saw that allegation, I mean, I was in the NYPD as a black supervisor. I already know if I almost did something, they calling everybody immediately. They're not going, no anonymous complaint. They're taking pictures, especially now with social media. They're going to be taking pictures and cameras and saying, look, he almost crashed the plane. So that one, I was like, it doesn't even sound good.
So when you're a flight instructor, and flight instructors, especially helicopters, is probably one of the most dangerous things you can do. So we do emergency procedures.
Right.
So we do something we call auto rotations. Now, auto rotation is we'll go up to 1,000 feet above the ground and we'll turn the power off. Right? And the plane will start sinking probably about 2,000 feet a minute, and you're utilizing the air coming through the rotors to keep the rotors spinning. Okay. And then when you get to a certain level, probably about 500 feet above, you recover before you hit the ground.
Okay.
Now, most people don't do that, but you have to do that maneuver in order to get your certificate. You have to be able to recover from an engine failure. So it's a simulated engine failure in the helicopter.
Right.
So we do it all the time. Well, I do it all the time if you're a flight instructor.
Right.
So I'm certified to do it. I did it. They make a big thing out of it. But it's all bullshit. The next one was, and it's funny, but I have to go through it. Failed to inspect the helicopter. Somebody said I got a helicopter and I didn't inspect it before I got off and came up. Like, they said the damage to the helicopter, when I was flying, that damage happened when I was flying and I didn't catch it. So I probably didn't inspect the helicopter. Anytime I get in a helicopter, I inspect it. Anytime I jump out, I inspect it. Like, it makes no sense. So
that's like pilot 101.
101. You don't get, especially a helicopter.
Right.
A helicopter has a lot of moving parts. Not like a plane. A plane is different from a helicopter. A helicopter is a flying car, and if those rotors don't spin, it's a brick. A plane, you can kind of glide. You got glide distance, a lot more glide distance.
So, Chief, You look in that camera right. That's your camera right there.
I'm looking at you.
No, I want you to look at the camera. After I ask you, you telling me you never cheated?
Cheated what?
Not inspecting the helicopter?
I don't cheat, man. I don't cheat.
The people need to know. You
Yo,
never cheated.
Listen, even my personal plane,
Uh-huh.
every time I go up, it's a system we check. Every time. This is not a
Okay.
car. You don't get a flat and say, yo, I'm pulling to the side. Something happened in that helicopter, you're dead.
You're dead.
That's it. There's no second chance.
And for the record, you took my son up. You taught my son how to fly. You taught my niece how to fly, and you still teaching my niece to become a pilot, I know. So
and that's funny because
you have my kid's life in your hand. I want to make sure you was inspecting them damn planes, okay?
It's funny because I did all of this to violate the FAA or was crashing a helicopter, but I'm still a licensed, certified flight instructor, still doing flight instruction. If that was the case, the FAA would have at least spoke to me.
Exactly.
Like, it's just ridiculous how people come up with stuff and they just believe it. Let me just keep going. And I'm almost there. Misuse of department facility. I don't even know what that is. I'm going to assume when I took a picture behind my desk, I shouldn't have did it behind my desk. Misuse of time. Don't know what that is. I'm trying to figure that out. Failed to notify IAB. They saying that conflict of interest board case.
Right.
I should have told them about it.
But conflict of interest board told them.
Yeah. And the conflict, but they said, no, you should have notified us that you had a conflict of interest board case. I said, listen, conflict of interest board told me they was going to speak to you, and I thought you all was together. But no problem. I'll take it. Failed to notify NTSB. We already went through that.
Mm-hmm.
Use of position to advance self-interest. These guys said, yo, he got all these ratings because he want to use it on the outside. Shit, everybody in that unit is getting things to use on the outside. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to get, but the truth of the fact is, my helicopter ratings, I'm not going to use on the outside. I will never fly a helicopter again. I will never fly.
Because you fly planes. You teach kids in planes.
I fly planes. And the helicopters we train in, we got 3 different types of helicopters. The smallest one is a Bell 407. It's a 6-seater. That helicopter costs like $5 million, and that's the cheap helicopter. In the real world, you will never train on that helicopter. You train on small helicopters. My weight, I couldn't even do training in those little Robbies. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So
let me also let the people know. So the NYPD is a $1 billion company. So he's talking about the allegation was people in aviation going to use their qualifications outside. Well, guess what? People in IAB, that's investigators, when they leave, they do investigations. People that's on the mayor's detail is called executive protection. Guess what they do when they retire? Executive protection. People in Tyru is where they do eavesdropping. They go into your house putting bugs. Guess what they do? So stop with the nonsense. Of course, I left as a commander. Now, I'm a consultant as a law enforcement expert. That's what we do. As you move around in the NYPD, you use your qualifications when you retire. So Let's just make the record clear.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Captain Derby's Books is a publishing and media company founded by retired NYPD Captain Derby St. Fort. Focused on advocacy-driven storytelling, Captain Derby's Books produces works that promote positive social change and build stronger connections between law enforcement, community, and youth. Captain Derby's Promise, a children's book inspired by real-life events, embodies the mission of inspiring empathy, uplifting youth, and fostering understanding and unity within communities. Learn more at CaptainDerby'sBooks.com and follow at Captain Derby's Books on Instagram and all social media platforms.
Post internal documents to public record. When I first saw this chart, I was like, post internal documents into department records? And I'm thinking, what is it? And they show it to me. When I was the CEO of aviation, I took a picture of the post. The post says, aviation is looking for pilots, and this is the qualifications. So a lot of people used to come to me and be like, yo, aviation's hiring. I'll put it on my social media saying, and it's only to cops. It's not to everybody. It's just saying, the aviation is open up to pilots. And if you guys know, if you got your pilot, come do the interview.
Right.
That's what that was.
Okay.
So I'm like, bullshit. But okay, I'll take it. Recommending a private business, steering a business. This is the craziest one. So when I was doing my program at the center,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes some cops want to sit in the back to listen to it, listen to the program. I don't care. If you want to sit in the back and you want to take notes, nobody's getting paid, nobody's doing anything, I'll let you do it. I had this one captain who was a captain in the 113 or something. I don't know, somewhere. And I was a CEO of youth strategies. He came in and he sat in the back. Then later on, he said, "Can I do a discovery flight?" I took him for a discovery flight and he paid me. Now it's okay for him to pay me because I don't work above him and I have no association with him at work.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to explain that to him. He said, "Well, you're doing business with..." No. So they didn't charge me with that.
Right. And so another, we have to clear this stuff up. So I know when my son graduated from the program, the commissioner of community affairs was there at your graduation, right? I think a couple of chiefs were there at the graduation. So all these allegations, it was like baffling me when I'm reading this. Like, you wasn't doing this like behind the door. Like, as a matter, and the commissioner of community affairs, which you and I know, is a very good friend of mine. I've known him for a very long time. Congratulations, Mark Stewart. He retired now.
Yes.
He was so happy about the program.
So he was. It was such a good program, and he wanted to do it citywide.
Yes.
So that's one of the charges I have, like fraud, because he was like, "This is a good program," and it was a good program, and there was nothing wrong with it. It's just outside people look back and go, "This program had to be corrupt in some way because there's no way some black guy is doing it for free or some black cops are volunteering a service to do this."
Right.
So when Commissioner Stewart said, "Yo, Faison, this is a good program. What does it take to do it citywide?" I did a report breaking down everything you will need, simulators, so this is, and how much it will cost.
Right.
And and this is crazy because when IAB pull your drive, they see that report, they go, "Oh shoot, he's asking for $200,000 from the commissioner."
Right.
No, I was just telling him how much I explained it, and they didn't charge me with it.
Right.
But I had to explain it because they just take all of this information and they just assume the worst instead of asking.
Right.
So that's what one of the charges was too. I think that was the fraud charge or something like that. The other one was display a department logo on your personal social media. So again, I took a picture of my graduation. It was pictures of me in uniform, things of that nature.
But hold on, Faison, you're going Instagram right now. You're gonna see 200 cops in uniform. It's doing all kind. They twerking. They doing TikToks. They're doing all kind of stuff.
So let me tell you how this works. So what happened was they punished me on that Thursday, and the post came out, and they had to try some justification for that move. I'm assuming they had all of this. They was like, "We got him." They probably presented it to the
and obviously somebody fed it to the New York Post.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say who I think, but I'm assuming the commissioner probably looked at it and said, "This shit is crazy. Transfer this guy." And then when they GO15 me and all of the charges is like, only thing we got him on is the conflict of interest board and failed to notify us about the conflict of interest board. That's the only two charges that they gave me after the interview. So everything with the fraud, the scheme, the fraud, after I explained it, they was like, "This is all we got."
Right.
Now, you were like kind of in a bind because now you got to justify that move.
Who's the commissioner when you get transferred? Tish?
Tish is the commissioner of the New York City Police Department. I don't know if she knew. I don't know. All I know is that transfer happened and it had to come from above. And
yes. It probably had something to do with the chief of department at the time, too.
So, that's funny because sometimes they want to associate you with somebody else. I'll give an example. I got a young lady that worked for me. She's my assistant Detective Faison. There was another Post article that came out after that Post article saying that I used federal grant money to give overtime to certain people that wasn't qualified. Of course, I explained that like, they were supposed to get it. They can get it. They got it before I got here. They got it after I got here.
Right.
But the only 3 people you put on the post are the black people, because there's other administrative people who are not black that got the same overtime and they not on the post with a federal investigation.
Right.
And then they sit it down to GO15 and start asking her questions like, what's your relationship with Faison? You ever go out after work with him and things of that nature?
Right.
So just because one person do something, don't assume everybody is doing something. And of course she explained it, but they try to
put you in the same post as the former chief of department.
That's what they tried to do.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. But they asked me, listen, I was an inspector for 5 years.
Right.
That's a long time.
That's a very long time.
And let me tell you.
You was a rising star. You should probably like after captain, when you on the track, you already know every 2 to 3 years you're getting a promotion.
I'll give you an example. When I was the deputy inspector in charge of the 6-1 precinct, Richie Taylor was my lieutenant.
Right.
He got promoted to chief 8 months before I did.
Richie Taylor is the chief in the New York City Police Department, the highest ranking Jewish cop in the NYPD. He wears the yarmulke.
How did that happen?
We know how it happened. What are you talking about?
I'll give you another example.
It happens all the time.
When I left the 8-1, I took my pin off and gave it to the new CEO, cool guy, Billy Glenn. He took over the 8-1 from me. A nice guy. He got promoted a year before me, the chief.
Of course. So I'm glad I'm so happy you on here, because people be thinking like Corey Pegues is crazy and he's talking all this stuff about the NYPD. No, I'm not in a vacuum. This stuff happens to all black supervisors unless you play the game, which I ain't know how to play the game. I'm quite sure you ain't play the game. We was just there, just doing our job. Let me ask you a question, a serious question. Looking back, would you admit to any procedural misjudgment or error that might have opened the door to these allegations?
Let me tell you something, and people need to know this. A week before I got transferred, maybe a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, somebody approached me. I'm not going to say the person's name, but they was like...
Yeah, we want names. This is Corey's Corner. Drop the fucking names.
And
Let's go.
He probably don't care. Matter of fact, I know he don't care, but I'm not going to say his name. But he go, yo, listen, Chief Henderson is leaving, and he's not if he was an executive, I would tell you, but he's not. He said, Chief Henderson is leaving. They looking for somebody to take that spot. A lot of people know you in Brooklyn North. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, love it. They said, are you willing to take that spot? I was like, I never thought about it because I was happy where I was at, but you know what? I'm a Brooklyn. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I wouldn't mind being a borough CO of Brooklyn, and that's a 2-star spot.
Right.
And a lot of people advocated for me for that spot.
Right.
It got to the point that I already had the spot.
Right.
It was like people was calling me and saying, I heard you get in Brooklyn North.
Yeah.
It was confirmed.
Right.
Somebody didn't want me to get that spot. So and somebody really high in a uniform position. Right? And all of a sudden, everything explodes. I thought I was getting promoted that following Friday.
Right.
Instead, I got transferred that Thursday. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it was like, you're about to get promoted from 1-star to 2-star. You're about to take over Brooklyn North.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, they start dropping everything in the post.
Oh, yeah.
And
that
then,
probably had something to do with a 4-star.
And then they gave it to somebody he's really cool with, and I like the guy too. He was an inspector. They double bumped him and gave him the 2-star spot. He came to me, the person who asked me came to me and apologized. Yo, I'm sorry. I know where this came from. It's because I advocated for you. A lot of people wrote letters saying, I want Faison to get this spot. And they was like, yo, no, you can't get, and they wanted this guy to get the spot. And the only way to justify not giving me the spot was to throw this stuff out here.
Wow, that's deep.
I'm Assemblymember Latrice Monique Walker, and you're listening to Corey's Corner, where he always keeps it right, not real.
Let's talk about Joseph Medina, Vlad Ravik, and David Everett.
Well, I can't talk about them.
I don't want you to talk about them, but you could just answer. They're alleging you dismissed or sidelined them in favor of less experienced black pilots?
I have receipts, and I guarantee you, when this investigation continue, you'll see it's all bullshit.
All bullshit.
I'm not worried about that at all. At all.
You think there's a double standard in how high-ranking officers, particularly officers of color, are investigated or disciplined compared to others?
Of course, because and listen, it's a natural behavior sometimes. Sometimes when you can look at somebody and you can see yourself in that person, you kind of you go, I understand that could have been me, you know. But sometimes when you don't have that, and you look at, if you see a person or people in a certain way, you automatically assume the worst. And that's just an indication of my investigation, indication what's happened with Terrell, things of that nature. It's just, listen, you're guilty, and you prove your innocence.
I mean, listen, just in the past year, when you're talking about high-ranking officials in the newspaper in NYPD, they're all black. It's Jeff Madry, it's Terrell Anderson, it's you. Not that y'all compared to Jeff Madry and all the dumb stuff that guy did, because that guy was bad. But do you think race played a part with you in aviation? I gotta ask the questions. This is Corey's Corner. You gotta ask the questions. I don't want my audience to assume.
Ask that question again. Do
you believe race played any role in how these accusations were framed or handled internally?
Absolutely. Because if I was in this race, the accusations wouldn't have came. You know, it starts. The genesis is you're black, and I don't believe you qualify.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, when I remember texting you, yo, bro, congratulations. When you was named the commanding officer of the aviation unit, I was like, holy mo! But I knew that you had the qualifications. I knew, but it doesn't matter when we qualify. When we qualified, it doesn't matter. They still don't give you the spot. Just like you spoke earlier, you was qualified before the guy went in before you. You interviewed, you had everything, and he got the spot. So once you make captain in the NYPD, so it's discretionary promotions, you go to these BS interviews, they like you, they promote you. I don't care what your qualifications are. And that's what happened with you. And it's really sad that in 2025, we're still dealing with the same thing. Now, granted, there's a lot more brothers and sisters in positions higher. You know, when I was a captain, I was one of 25 black executives in the whole NYPD with 40,000 people. So there's a lot, but there's still a lot of room for change.
I'll tell you, this is like, and this is serious because, you know, your reputation is important.
Of course.
And I'm telling you, my son is 18 years old. And the other day, his mother called me and said, you know, Winston came to me and said, hey, Mom, you see what they're saying about Dad on social media? So when people make stupid allegations like that, it's not just me hurting. You know, and your reputation is important. I worked very hard. I spent a lot of money on my experience in aviation. I bust my ass studying to get to where I'm at. And to do 25 years with no real disciplinary history. And at the last second, you do this. Now I'm retiring. I don't have a walkout. Which I deserve. You know what I'm saying? And it's on a post. The aviation community is small. So when people hear things like, and people only remember the first thing they read. So people read that post and said, oh shit, Faison don't know how to do this.
Do this right.
And now I have a business where I teach people how to fly. That affects my business now because now people are saying, I heard so much about him. I don't even trust him to fly my kid or anybody because I just don't teach kids. I teach adults. So that's huge. And then my XO, who was black, he was the first black XO there, and I didn't put him in there. He responded to the post. He got interviewed by the chief, and he got the position. They moved him just to move him. And then they removed 3 other black people from that unit. Detective Faison, they threw her out. Lieutenant Smith just said, I'm leaving. You got to think about it. I was the first black CO. My XO was the first black XO. Detective Faison was the first black female ever assigned to the aviation unit. Lieutenant Smith was the first black lieutenant ever in the aviation unit.
No, Wendell was there.
No, female lieutenant.
Oh, female. Okay.
Female lieutenant.
Yeah. Because Wendell Owens
Yeah,
was there.
Wendell was the lieutenant, but first black female lieutenant there.
Okay.
And Lieutenant Wright was there, and they threw all of them out. So you just got rid of 5 black people in the aviation unit, which the aviation is
I
probably
didn't
about.
even know it was that many in there.
When I first got there, it was only 4. So you just removed 5 out of 4.
Out of 60,
Out of
it's
60.
only 5.
Out of 60. And if you don't think that's race related, then you can't see. Because if you're going to move those 3 allegedly federally taking money, there's another couple of people you got to remove.
Of course. Yeah, a lot of them would say. So let me ask you a question that's not on my cards. Where's the black fraternal organizations on this?
So listen.
Where's the black fraternal organization?
explain.
You got Noble, you got Holly Fo.
I spoke to.
You got all of these black. Hold on, all these black fraternal organizations who talk all this no justice, no peace, black power, and all of this. Here we got this chief, the first black commander in the history of the aviation unit. I haven't heard none of them. No peep. Hello, wait, hold on. I still can't hear you. Where y'all at? Oh, they probably having a party somewhere because they definitely wasn't supporting you.
So, and I spoke to some of the leaders, nobles and guardians, and this is what we have to do. Anytime we should have, they collect a lot of money and they do a lot of good work, give out scholarships and stuff like that.
Nobody care about those scholarships.
What they need to do is have an attorney on the call.
Exactly.
Somebody like Eric Sanders, somebody like Eric, and it's not like he's your lawyer, but listen, this is the problem I have, what you think.
Right.
Because when I went through, I'm a deputy chief, and just because you're a deputy chief don't mean you know the inner workings of the disciplinary actions in the NYPD if you never did it.
No,
so I was on the island by myself, so I didn't know the process, and I did things. I signed a negotiation that I shouldn't have signed. Let me tell you about the negotiation. So, I get to jail 15. We're going to trial. They say, listen, let's do a negotiation and see what we can do with the job. I go there. I go with my CEA lawyer, and that's the union lawyer. Actually, he wasn't there because he couldn't make it, but we had him on speaker, right? The delegate.
CEA, Captains Endowment Association. They cover captains up to deputy chief.
So we go there. We sit down. They give me the 3 charges. First was 2, the Conflict of Interest Board and failed to notify a Conflict of Interest Board. I walk in there, it's 10 a.m. They added a 3rd charge, which included not notifying NTSB and all that bullshit. And I was like, fuck that, I'm not signing this. So I walked out. I said, I'm not doing it. I walked out, I got in my car. The deputy commissioner of the Department Advocate's office called me and go, listen, come back up. Let's finish negotiating. I go back up. What you don't like? Number 3, I don't like. I didn't do this. I didn't have to notify NTSB. I didn't have to notify this. I didn't have to notify this. You guys don't even know aviation. I don't have to do all this.
Right.
So they start playing with words, trying to make it fit into what they want. Mm-hmm. So they end up saying, failed to notify IB as deemed appropriate. Mm-hmm. They said, how you feel about this? It's not saying you had to do it, but we deemed it was appropriate for you to do it. Mm-hmm. So I was there for like 6. It got to the point, they was like, even my lawyer at one time, I told him, listen, I feel like I'm being pressured. So my lawyer told him, listen, he feel like he's being pressured. My client can't make a decision. Mm-hmm. The deputy commissioner was like, all right, hold on. I'll tell you what, take a break, come back in an hour, and let's talk again. And literally, they had me in a box. And on the outside looking in, I go, I would never have signed that. But when you're in a box, and it's like a psychological warfare. And literally, I'm in the box. I'm like, I'm there for 6 hours. I'm exhausted. I'm like, yo, you just got those 3 charges. It says nothing about aviation. I signed it. I felt bad about it. I said, you know what? They said the negotiation, once the PC sign it, then it's finalized. Now, the PC normally takes a couple of weeks to get to a desk to sign it. Mm-hmm. So the next morning, I call my lawyer. I say, I don't feel comfortable with this. Tell them to rescind it. I'd rather go to trial.
Right.
So my lawyer calls him. He want to rescind it. He'd rather go to trial. They go, at 10 o'clock in the morning. I signed this at 3:30 p.m. At 10 o'clock in the morning, they come back and go, no, the PC already signed it and she don't want to rescind it. So I know it's bullshit. So I said, give me a copy of it. Right. It took them like a week to give me a copy of it. So I got my lawyer dealing with that.
Yeah.
But this is the type of games they play. You cannot go into any negotiation or any GO15 if you don't have an outside attorney that's there for your best interest. And that's what the union should do. It should be a hotline. Somebody get in trouble, this is my problem, who should I call?
Not the unions, because the
Not the
unions
union,
already
sorry,
have lawyers.
the fraternal orders.
Fraternal organizations, if you're listening now, this is great advice. If you really want to protect your membership who's paying yearly dues to you, you should have an attorney on payroll, so when one of your members call you and tell you they have this issue, they can have their union lawyer and their outside lawyer, and they could figure out how to get out of the box.
Yeah. You definitely need outside legal counsel.
Yeah. Well, listen, we have this segment on Corey's Corner called Spitfire Round. This is good stuff. It's a fun thing. Well, I just ask you a question. You got to give me one-word answer, yes or no, or one-word answer, all right? Like, I might ask coffee or tea. This is just a fun little break. You ready?
Yep.
First thing that comes to mind when you hear the word leadership.
Me.
Hardest part about being in command.
Being the CEO?
Yeah, being in command.
Hardest part, giving up your time, especially time with your family.
If you could pilot any aircraft in the world, military or civilian, which one would it be?
I just want a Cirrus. The new Cirrus is nice. Or a jet Cirrus.
Favorite borough to fly over and why?
Brooklyn.
I already knew you was going to say Brooklyn. All y'all Brooklyn dudes is so Brooklyn. Morning routine, coffee, prayer, workout, or straight to work?
I don't go straight to work no more, brother.
Yeah, that one is out.
I don't know. I don't have a routine no more. I wake up and whatever I feel like doing now is what I feel like doing.
Oh, well, you know what? Welcome to Everyday Saturday.
There you go.
If you weren't in law enforcement, what career do you think you'd be in today?
Teaching.
One thing people would be surprised to know about you.
I don't know. I'm like an open book. I don't know.
That's cool. What song best describes your mindset right now?
So Jay-Z got a song right now. Jay-Z got a song, and the lyrics are because Rob Lukash, he was a one-star in aviation, and he interviewed me the first time, and he said something to the fact that we had a lot of military people we could have gave the assignment to, but we chose. And Jay-Z got it says, I know motherfuckers saying they made Hope. Had Hope say, okay, so make another Hope. So when they say, we could have got somebody else, get them.
Go get them. Best piece of advice you ever received as a cop?
Study.
When it's all said and done, how do you want Winston Faison to be remembered?
Changed lives. Did a lot of work for my people, and I think I accomplished it, but I know I still got a lot more to go.
Okay. Thank you for participating in the Spitfire round. Wasn't that bad, right? Before we jump back into the questions, I'd be remiss if I don't talk about my best-selling book, Once a Cop, The Street, The Law, Two Worlds, One Man, which was turned into a feature documentary called A Cops and Robbers Story, which you can stream on Hulu and Apple TV. It basically details my life of being a misguided young kid doing a bunch of crazy things in the street and then rising to an executive level in the New York City Police Department. I appreciate your support. Now, when your book coming, when you ready to write that book, you gotta let me know. I got the plug. I'm the plug for the book. Ain't no self-publishing. You gotta get hardcovers, baby. You gotta get it right. You got Simon & Schuster, Doubleday, Random House, knocking the door down to throw you a 6-figure advance, but you gotta give some juice.
Yeah, once I get off the books.
Yeah, once you get off the books, let's get it back. Shout out to Corrupt Mob MC, the powerhouse studio that's behind Corey's Corner that makes everything possible here. And special shout out to my engineers that you never see on TV, but all that stuff flashing and moving around and the sound that's pristine, that's them. Some would say the NYPD culture can turn on its own when someone steps outside of the traditional box. Do you believe your ambition and outside ventures made you a target?
Listen, if you're not a target, you're not doing something right nowadays, right? Seriously, if you just go with the flow, you will never be a target. But, you have to, and listen, I help everyone, not just black people. I help everyone. But sometimes
most of us do. That's
Yeah,
exactly what we do.
that's what we do.
Because we know we can't just help the black cops
Exactly.
because the flag is going to be all over you.
But what's interesting is when you treat black people the same as white people, some white people believe black people are getting special treatment. Right? It's crazy. They can get the same thing because some people are not used to black people getting the same treatment. So when they get the same treatment, it's like, this guy's getting special treatment. He's getting special treatment, but it's actually the same treatment you're getting.
Yo, let me tell you. That's funny you said it. I'm going to tell you right now. When I took over, whatever commands, first one, PSA 2, brought a black lieutenant, black secretary, black driver, Fuel 4, Chief Esposito. I got transferred from the 7.5 as a captain. 10 months later, I got PSA 2. He was like, you got PSA 2. I was like, yo, I got to bring a few people. He said, you only get 4. I said, damn, only 4? He's like, you want them? You better give me 4 names. So I gave him 4. They was all black. I went to PSA 2. They would say, oh, this guy racist. He bringing all these black people over here. And I was like, but when the white commanders come and they bring all white people, it's all good?
That was one of my charges. No, seriously.
No, I believe you.
Averting, I said, listen, that's what happens. When COs move, they take their people. Tracy
Right.
was my driver. She's coming with me.
Right.
And the funny thing is, I brought people in, but I didn't move people out. I
Right.
didn't even move people out their positions.
Uh-huh.
Now, think about it. The new guy came in.
Uh-huh.
Of course, he's not the guy before me and the guy after me. Never been a CO. Don't have no aviation experience. That's
Right.
the guy who's running it now. He brought his guys in, but his guys bumped my guys out.
Of course.
So
That happens all
and they
the time.
complaining. So the things you do catastrophic.
Yeah.
Right? The things they do is just normal.
The FAA reportedly opened an inquiry following your removal. Have federal investigators contacted you directly? If you can answer that or not.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Now, this process could take a toll on you professionally and personally. I know that. How has it affected your reputation, your relationships inside the NYPD, and your faith in the system?
Yeah, and that's kind of deep because, you hear things like this happening, but if you're not in it, you'll never believe it. You have to be in it. And literally, when this happened, this is a 3-week, I'm talking from you're about to get promoted to
Right.
assistant chief to you're getting GO'd and I put my papers in and it's all over the news. It was like the Twilight Zone, bro. I
Right.
was like, I don't believe this shit is happening. And then you're on the island because people don't want to touch you. People literally go, listen, I mean, if it's blood in the water, get out the water. But people didn't reach out and go, yo, is this true? I'll give you an example. I had somebody come up to me and go, and they thought they knew. They was like, your face on, let me put you on the game. What's up? Yo, the feds is about to raid your house. I got word that the feds is going to raid your house. And this guy, he really believed it, but he was trying to help me. But that's the rumor. Another guy came up to me, and this guy, I ain't going to say his name, but he go, I see him. He goes, yo, let me talk to you. And this guy, everybody knows him. He go, yo, I know somebody that really listened to the tapes, the GL. I got all the GLs because I got Discovery.
Right.
And they go, your assistant, the one you were sleeping with, is the one that ratted you out. I said, yo, who the fuck told you that? I don't know. Then slap her because, first of all, you saying I was sleeping with him.
Right.
Sleeping with her. And that's a repetition. Come on.
Let me tell you, man, the day that I woke up and was on the front page of the New York Post talking about I sold drugs when I was 15 and 16 years old, but man, I couldn't get no phone, man. I could count on 4 fingers that people in the NYPD reached out to me. And I'm like, all this work I did, all the givebacks I gave, all the black chiefs, they don't come out and be like, yo, this ain't Corey. And like, what are we talking about from 25 years? What are we talking about? They all full of shit. They all of them.
Yeah,
So you couldn't depend on none of them, black, white, or Asian, because they all scared. The black ones, if you walk outside of this store right now and they see their shadow, they closing the door. They running. They gonna be like, yo, it's a black man chasing me. That's how scared they are. So don't put your faith To all the cops out there, I'm telling you, have your faith has to be in you. Nobody's your friend. Nobody looking out for you, bro, sis. Nobody. And it's for the white cops, Asian cops. You on your own. Because soon as something happen, and it's all false allegations. Everybody running. Everybody running for the trees. So after the removal from the command, what's been the personal and professional fallout for you?
Listen, personally, it didn't really affect me. I know it's bullshit. I know at the end of the day, it's going to be resolved the way it's going to be resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Professionally, it's going to hurt me a little bit because your reputation. So you know, if you're in the aviation community is small, and you go on social media, you put my name in, the first thing you're going to see is that post.
Yes.
So
I know. You
that's
Google my name, it says Thug Cop immediately.
Yep. And that's going to have a long-term effect on. I mean, listen, I don't have to work no more. My pension is good.
Right.
I own my house. Everything is good, but I still like to do flight training. And that's just another question I got to answer whether I do.
But I'm going to tell you, bro, honestly, like me, that New York Post being Thug Cop, I done made so much money. Don't let it affect you. It doesn't matter because, like, somebody say something to you, you explain it out. Like the whole Thug Cop thing. I'm actually making money on Thug Cop now. I should have freaking copyrighted the damn thing and had t-shirts saying, I'm the Thug Cop. I probably would have sold a bunch. But don't let it affect you personally. It's nothing. You know it was a hit job. You can't control what's in social media because that's the thing I hate, man. Like you said earlier, like people they ain't thinking about your family. I was throwing blankets over my kids like I was Michael Jackson, getting them out. The news reporters was in the bushes and all kind of stuff. It's crazy, but nobody cares about that. Nobody cares. They just put all this stuff out, dirt on you, and that's why when I read stuff in the newspaper, I don't believe none of that stuff. You mentored and led hundreds of officers in the NYPD, and with this thing going on, what message does this experience send to them, especially the younger officers trying to navigate ambition, innovation, and compliance?
So, listen, it can help younger officers. You learn from other people downs. I just want cops should look at this situation and say, just be aware it can happen to anybody. Don't listen to everything you hear. I mean, don't believe half of what you hear. Shit, don't believe 75% of what you hear and half of what you see sometimes. And I don't know.
Finally, Deputy Chief Faison, if you could speak directly to the NYPD, rank and file, and to the public who only know you from this article, what do you want them to understand about your leadership, your decisions, and the truth behind these allegations? And you look right into your camera.
Right, so my integrity is intact. No one can say I took anything, I did anything illegal, or I intentionally try to harm or do anything to anybody. That's intact. I did 25 years in good standards. But what I would say to the NYPD is this. IB's job is to investigate and figure out the truth. And their job is not to prosecute. And I think that was the problem with my case. So, but my legacy stands. The things I've done already, it stands, it's cemented. I did a lot of work in my community. I did a lot of work for kids. And that's already cemented. So they can't take that away from me. No. My qualifications, they can't take that away from me. The things I've did and I've done and the things I'm going to do is going to be bigger than what I did. What they did was they did me a favor because you just opened me up to speak my truth now.
That's right.
NYPD can hold you down a little bit. You can't say certain things.
That's right.
But as soon as the shackles are off, you just created a monster.
Before we wrap, is there anything you'd like to share we haven't covered?
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Dope quote. I love it. Let the people know where they could find you because we gotta get the bag now. Let them know about your program, where they could find you on social media.
So, and I said this before, I'm not going to do that, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, because you sell the books.
The last time I did a podcast and I mentioned my business,
right?
Conflict of Interest Board came and gave me a case.
Right. My bad. Well, I'm gonna tell you where you can find him. If you're looking to find Deputy Chief Faison. If you have a child that's looking to learn how to fly, if you're an adult that's looking at how to fly and you want to learn from a black instructor, all you got to do is email on Corey's Corner at gmail.com. In the subject line, put Deputy Chief Faison or Aviation for Us, and we'll make sure he receives that notification ASAP. Let's support the brother. Thank you for coming on the Corey's Corner. We appreciate you for your honesty, leadership, and your perspective. Your voice adds depth to the conversation on service. Love you, bro. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to check out Captain Derby's Promise, the inspiring children's book teaching young readers about courage, compassion, and keeping your word. Get your copy today. Join Corey's Corner and Corrupt Mob MC in our mission to provide groceries and essentials to at least 25 families in need across our community. Every dollar helps fill a fridge, stock a pantry, and bring warmth to a home during this holiday season. Hit the link or scan the QR code. Be in a corner that cares. Shout out to Corrupt Mob MC and Corey's Corner Cares. We're doing something positive for the holiday season. For our listeners who found value in today's episode, make sure you follow, subscribe, and support. This has been another episode of Corey's Corner. Until next time, keep grinding, keep pushing, and remember, it's not where you start. It's always about where you finish. I'm Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Peace.
Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one thing we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, what up? Talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.